Hey guys, it's Celeborn again. I am back to redo a video that did not originally record, even though I thought it did. So we are going to go over, this is another review of a deck. This is the Fountain Tarot. Now, this is a indie deck, and I call indie, I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but I call indie the independent decks. Anyway, so it's got a very, very beautiful box, as most people describe. It's very shiny, rainbowy. It's got a magnet that opens it. Magnet opener here. And so this is what's on the inside. The first thing you see when you open it up, let's see if this will zoom out a little bit. Let me just lift y'all up here for a second. Maybe that'll work. So this is what you see when you open it up. It says, "You are the voice and the breath of the universes, or of universes." It doesn't say of the universe like somebody has pointed out. It's as if there's many universes. And this did come with a little card with their signatures on it and all that. It's a very well made box. You know, most indie decks are, and that's one of the reasons that I like them, even though they are a little bit more pricey. I think that it's all good. Anyway, so it comes with the ribbon to pull it out. So we'll just close this up over here. Now I'm not going to go through all of these. I have found that I don't really resonate with the wands yet, but we'll work on that. So here's a little book that it comes with. It is also kind of a glittery, glitzy book. It's a nice little book. It does not have any of the pictures of the cards in it. So, yeah. So that's that. So let's see if we'll zoom in here a little bit and see if we can get a... So here's the back of the card. This is what it looks like. Very geometrical, very bright, very airy, which... if you all watch me, you know that's not really always my cup of tea, but there we go. So, let me get a drink real quick. And we shall get this shit on the road. Alright, so I'm just going to go through some of them that I actually do like. Now this is one of the ones that I do like. Sorry, I'm showing these upside down because I actually fixed my camera to where I can have them facing me so I can see them. This is the Ten of Wands. This is a very well done. Now, I'm going to go over a little bit of the information if you don't know about the Fountain Tarot. The Fountain Tarot was created by these three people, Jonathan, Jason, and Andy. They went through a lot of decks and they gathered lots and lots of information, and they decided on what they could mess with, what they couldn't mess with, things like that. So what they could take out, what they could put in, and so on and so forth. So they had lots and lots and lots of information compiled. So now each one of these are actually painted by Jason himself. So these are actually oil paintings. Anyway, so this is the Ten of Wands. I like the way that it's been depicted. It doesn't really look like it's it looks like it's burdenish, but it's got this person has structured this way so that they can handle it, kind of look to it. So these cards are they're matte finish, if you can see that. They're not glossy at all. They shuffle very well. They are gilded, silver gilded. So yeah. So the next one will be the Two of Cups. This is a very beautiful card. I like how it's depicted these two people And these are not actually, this is not like one of those lovers kind of cards. This is, I mean, it could be, but I mean, this is it's two females, and the cups are up in the stars, and just very, very airy. All these cards are very light and very airy most generally. Now see, here's one of the reasons that I just don't connect with the wands yet. The wands are very bright. They're just like that. Like, I mean, let me find another wand here. See, all the wands are, like, this is the King of Wands, here's the Two of Wands. They're very light and very airy. Here's the Page of Wands. So, I mean, I love the depiction that's in them. I just don't connect with them really well right now, so we will see. Okay, so on to some others. Here is the Five of Coins. I do love this depiction. It does have the traditional Rider-Waite feeling to it, but it doesn't seem as though that this is a church. And there's a woman with her child, and it's just a really in-depth, beautiful picture. I think they did some really great artwork on this. Here is the Eight of Swords. This is very well depicted with the swords surrounding this person. They've kind of put their head in there on their own. It's not really like they're surrounded completely by it, but I mean, it's just that kind of that danger card where they can get themselves out of it. They just have to figure out how to transform themselves or to change themselves to actually get out of it. Sorry, my other video just finished. Okay, now here's another card that I do like. This is the Chariot. This depicts, to me, it's like one horse, but when you're looking at it, there's actually two. It's like it's dividing in from light and dark, and this person is, I mean, you can tell the movement in it, but I really do love this card. I don't really see a chariot per se, but it's almost as if this person's riding the horse and it's trying to divide while he's riding it. Like he's, in this depiction, I kind of see it as being that the cart is trying to go in two different directions, but the driver can only go in one, is kind of the way that I look at it. Here is the Page of Swords. Again, this is another light and airy card. I do like it though. It is very clean, it's very crisp, and it's very unique to a Page of Swords. There's a lot of these cards, like for instance the Queen of Cups. There's not really a cup in the card, but I mean, I guess she does have a cup, but she's sitting in water, and it's just these are just beautiful cards. Here is the Empress. This is a very beautiful depiction of the Empress. There's a lot of growth, which comes with the Empress. It feels as though she's very knowledgeable. She's walking through this beautiful pond with this garment on that is it's just radiant and beautiful. So there's these kind of cards that I do like, and that's one of the reasons I'm trying to resonate with the wands, so that I can use this deck. I have used it for a few readings, and it reads fairly well for me. I am an intuitive reader. That's one of the reasons that I have some of the issues with the wands, because they really just kind of leave you wanting more. This one is interesting. This is the Eight of Cups, which is also that, instance where you're leaving behind these emotions, and you can kind of see these cups here stacked up, and this silhouette of a person that's walking away. So this is a very good depiction of this card, I believe. Judgment is a little different. You don't really see the scales in the Judgment card. It's very, I mean, there's like maybe a scale here, maybe a scale over here, but then it looks like there's another scale. I'm not really sure. It does look like it depicts an angel in here, and I mean that's kind of, I mean that's the Judgment part of it, but I don't really see the scales that you would normally see when it comes to this type of thing. I mean, not really scales, but you know what I mean. It's not the typical, and I'm not, I mean, I may be thinking of the Justice card, but in fact, let me find the Justice card here. It'll probably be the last one that I look at, I'm sure. Now this is actually a 79 card deck. It's not 78, so I don't know. We'll find the Justice card here in a little bit. So here's the Seven of Cups. And this is really indicative of the Seven of Cups to me. She's got 7 cups around her. She looks kind of confused. She looks kind of weary. She doesn't really know what she should pick or what she should do. It's not got a whole lot in it, but it's definitely one of those cards that you can tell that this person is kind of distraught as to the choices that they're having to make. Not really distraught, but they're having problems making those choices. This is a very neat interpretation of the Nine of Wands, where there's not really swords in the card. I mean, they kind of are, but they're imaginary. They're not like the normal Nine of Swords that you would see. And you see this person sitting up in their bed with their knees up to their chest. They have dark eyes. Looks like they haven't slept in days, and it's just like this issue just keeps coming back to them and back to them and back to them every night. So I love this card. This is one of those cards that I do really love. Four of Cups. These are kind of interesting. The Four of Cups are a little bit different when it comes to these cards. They're very I don't know how to put it. It's very it's not whimsical, but it's just very, I guess, shaded. I would call it shaded. There's different variations of shading that happens. There's different variations of translucent, transparency. There's all these different things that are happening in this card, these cards. Like here's the Five of Cups. Now, and one of the reasons that I say that is, I mean, the cups do depict water, so they are water is clear, and so that's where I'm seeing this transparency coming in. But I really do love some of these depictions of these cards. Now, this is one of the favorites that I have of this deck, which is the Two of Cups. Or sorry, Two of Coins. My apologies. I love the way that this looks. It's not the norm when it comes to it, but it still has the same kind of symbolism in it. It's got the coins, it's got the infinity symbol, it's got this person juggling those, that juggling act that happens, but this person is a part of, it looks like their hand is coming out of the water, and it really doesn't give you that earth sense. And it's a complete different depiction of the Two of Coins to me. Now this is one that I really don't connect with at all. There's some cards that I do, or some decks that I like the Sun. This is one, there's very few decks that I like the Sun card in, because it's kind of very, a lot the same when it comes to things like this. This one, I mean, I can see where they were going with it, but I really, really don't like this depiction of the Sun. I can see where the child is swinging on the ray of light and basking in its glory and so on and so forth, but I just don't connect with it. So some of you might. I just don't. Four of Wands. This one is a little bit different than the wands that I've seen before. This looks like a person, or four people that are out at the beach and they're having a party, and it looks like a light show. I mean, that's kind of what the Four of Wands is a party anyway, in most senses. This card does, or this deck does have some nudity in it. It's very light nudity, but anyway, so here's the World card. I do like this card. It's very, very colorful, very structured, very, it looks like it's an ongoing kind of situation. I mean, that's what the World does, is it turns. And you can kind of see the center there. There's a, it's almost like a, and I'll show you a card here in a second. It's the, what card is it? The Wheel of Fortune card. It's a, kind of a toss-off of the Wheel of Fortune card, if you will, on this. The Wheel of Fortune card is, this looks like a gyroscope, and that's what the World is basically a large gyroscope that spins in one direction, and yeah, and tilts here and there. But the, I'll show you the King of Cups. There's the King of Cups. I'm getting these all messed up here, of course. Okay, I do like this one. This is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords, this depicts that the woman that has the blindfold on, that is choosing her route kind of blindly. This one does not, however, depict the swords crossing the woman's chest. That to me makes it feel more like it's not a two-way decision. It's not a road. It's not like a fork in the road. This one kind of gives me that feeling that I usually have when it comes to the Two of Wands, of where, you know, you do have the choice of taking the right or left road, but you also have the choice of making your own path. And that's one of the things that I like about this one, is it doesn't really, there's not a set path. There's not her sitting there trying to decide. She's gotten up, she started walking, and now she's on this road that kind of she's set out on her own, even though it's blindly leading that. So I do love that card there. It's a very good depiction of that. Here is the Death card. The Death card is going to be for some people, not for others. This does not really throw me into the thought of the transition or the transformation or the normal meanings of the card. I do love how it's depicted, though, how the white is down here and the dark. Up here there's a skull, and then there's a couple of tree branches where it's holding the skull up above this horse that is clearly not of the living world. So it kind of gives you that different aspect of the Death card. But you kind of have to really be into it. I do like the way that it looks. It just doesn't give me that transformation look that I usually go for whenever I'm looking for or looking at the Death card. Now here's another wand that I don't mind, the Eight of Wands. This really, I mean, this is, the Eight of Wands is a motion card, and that's really not emotion, but a motion. And this one, when you're looking at it and you're trying to do intuitive, you're going to get that feeling of either moving forward or you're moving backwards. And so this goes to a very precise point, or it looks like it's coming from a precise point. And that can be a precise point in your life that you're coming from or going to, and it's a very fast and quick journey just by looking at this. So I do like that one. Here's the Tower card. Tower is very geometrical. Can't say that it's my favorite, but I can see where this one is. It doesn't resemble the lightning bolt that you normally see in it. It has fire on the last 4 piers or 4 floors, but it's like the bottom 6 are still intact. There's not any damage that's happening to them, but it shows that destruction of it does. I mean, it just depicts that destruction that the Tower card normally has. It's not the typical Tower card. Let's see here. Now, this is the one that really made me buy this deck. I love this card. This card, I mean, it's the moon, obviously. It's the moon card. This card makes me feel like, you know, when you look at the typical Rider-Waite deck, you have the moon card that shows this river or this path that's going upwards, and there's a dog and a wolf and these 2 pillars. And this to me looks like they literally just flipped the card around and we're looking at the opposite direction, because down here normally you see the ocean, but they still have the wolf and the dogs here howling at the moon. One is dark, one is light. You really can't see them probably in the picture. Let me see if I can get you up there to see it. But this here, whenever you're looking at the moon card, it tells you the traditional moon card. Whenever I look at it, gives me that feeling that there's a path that's set. This kind of gives me the feeling that there are infinite paths that you can take, because once you've passed these pillars and you've gone through this gate, you literally can go in any direction that you choose. There's nothing that is setting your course other than you. And once you've set your course, you can go in any direction that you choose. You don't have to go straight forward. You can zigzag. You can do whatever you feel that you need to do. But it is one of the cards that I really, really did like. Now, this next card, this is the Queen of Coins. This is one of the few cards that I've seen that depict any, if at all, African American women. I do love the way that this card is laid out. There's a lot of growth, there's a lot of strength, there's a lot of power. You kind of look and see that there's maybe this tree of life in the background. She's very sure of herself, she's very prepared for anything that's coming, and it's just a very beautifully set out card. I just really don't know what else to say about that one. Now this one is the star. It's a little different. I can see where this one comes into play. It still has the geometrical shapes, but this star, it's kind of like, I know it looks like a pole dancer, and that's really the first feelings that I was getting from it. Is like, okay, I'm looking at a pole dancer. But really, when you look at it and you start to take thought to it, it depicts somebody who's grasped a hold of that higher power, and they're not letting go for any reason. They're holding on for all it's worth and utilizing it as their tool, and taking it into their own control to some point. So when you look at it, don't think of it as a pole dancer, because that's the first thought that you get. The Seven of Swords, this is a very unique looking card. I do like the way that it's been depicted. It doesn't have any people in it. There's a lot of these cards don't really have people in them anyway, but you can see this person's kind of trying to sneak off with some of the swords or some of the thoughts that this person may be having. So that's one of the things that whenever I'm looking at this that I get. Here's the Ace of Coins. This is a very beautiful card as well. I do like the way that this has been laid out. It has a stairway that's leading up to this very large and majestic medallion, if you would say, or totem even. It doesn't look like it's a small coin. It looks like it's a very large coin, and it's in that it's a lot of growth. And this is one of the things that I associate coins with growth and earth and things like that. Things that are in this depiction, I don't a lot of times associate them with money. And a lot of times, I mean, I tell people that all the time, that I don't always associate the coins with financials, with money, with anything like that. A lot of times they are more of a growth and sometimes prosperity, which I understand that is wealth and growth or money, but it can't just necessarily be prosperity of wealth. It can be prosperity of different things, grounding situations where you're becoming more grounded. So the coin cards have a lot of different meaning to me as an intuitive reader. Now this one here, I do like this. This is the Ten of Swords. This one really to me depicts a person that is superficially ending the story. Excuse me while I get a drink. Get this straightened up here. Superficially taking that or creating that pain that's showing up in this card. Because if you look at it, the swords are very translucent. They're very, and that's what the swords are. They are the mental image of what the person is laying out. This person, to me, it seems as though they've bowed down and they've kind of halted everything that they're doing, and they've pinned themselves down with these superficial swords. So it's a very, very indicative card of the swords, Ten of Swords. Now here's what I was talking about earlier with the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune, it's a gyroscope. There's a person in the middle. You can see that there's all this movement and there's light and there's all this stuff that's happening within this gyroscope and outside of this gyroscope, and it's just ongoing. It's one of those things that will never stop. The Wheel of Fortune never stops. You're going to be on top sometimes, you're going to be on the bottom sometimes, you're going to be on the side sometimes. It just depends on how your life goes. So this is a great depiction of that, and I do definitely see this being what it's supposed to be. The Strength card, me and the Strength card don't get along too well. I don't really like the depiction of this Strength card. It's definitely a very different Strength card. It's a person, or it's a female that's riding a lion. It's just not the same for me. I mean, I see it. I know it's there. I know what it means. It's just I have a hard time grasping this picture itself. So it's not one of my favorite cards. Now here's the Emperor. This is actually, in a weird way, a very good depiction of the Emperor. Red and that orange, that just demonstrates the power that this card has, or that this person has. And then he's standing upon this structure, which tells you that, okay, this person is very structured, but then not only that, they're very good at creating structure and holding that structure where it needs to be. And really just taking charge and doing what they need to do to make sure that that structure is the way that they want it to be. So this is one of those cards that, you know, it's very not my favorite Emperor, but I really can look into it and dive into it and decide and see exactly what I'm looking at. Now this is the Hierophant. This is a complete different take on the Hierophant to me. The Hierophant, this does not look like a typical Hierophant card. It does not have the normal hierarchy looking card to it. It's not the Cardinal or the Pope or anything like that. It's a older gentleman opening up a box of light. It's that knowledge. He's found all this knowledge and is now able to share it now that he's found it, kind of situation. And that's one of the things that I do like with this Hierophant card. It's not that you have to conform kind of card. Now this is another card that made me want to buy this. This is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, you can tell she doesn't have the columns per se, but she has these shrouds that are coming down. There's the moon in the background. She's sitting within the crescent moon. If you look, she's actually got the black draped over part of her. The white is draped over her face and her top part. There's also depiction of water down here in this blue triangle that's at the bottom that gives you that feeling of the water that's normally in the High Priestess card. So I do really like this card, and I don't know why, but I really kind of resonate with this one. It's just because she's kind of she's shrouded in that light and that dark side all at the same time. And I think that's probably why I do kind of go with it, because I am not afraid of the dark side, nor am I afraid of the light side. I like to make sure that they are combined. Now this card here, this is a Six of Swords. This is a really, I think I actually like this depiction of the swords better. You can tell this person is going off to a new place. They've used all of these thoughts and these ideas to get themselves to that place, but they're leaving everything here that could cause them any strife. They're leaving it all behind, and they used it to their advantage to push off to this new place. So this is really one of those cards that I do like. Now this next card, this is the 79th card, and this is part of the Major Arcana. This is the Fountain. This is kind of just that infinite possibilities card. I mean, they have the infinity symbol up here. It was depicted with the 22nd, but they went ahead and changed it to the infinity. But it gives you that feeling that there's just that infinite space out there that's going to continue to grow, to continue to blossom, continue to open up to new possibilities. It could even separate into different dimensions and cause a refraction of oneself to be seen in two different ways. So now that's not in the book, that's just the way that I interpret this card. It looks like it almost could split into two different dimensions, and then you could be looking at two different versions of yourself. So it's really a different card that I love that they put it in there. Here's the Magician. Now the Magician is a little bit different. It's not depicted by the same things, but it still has all the same elements in it. You have here, there is the infinity symbol, you have the sword, you have the wand, you have the cup, you have the coin. Everything is here. It's just in that very smudged, dreamy looking type of painting versus the very structured ones that we normally see nowadays, or from the Rider-Waite perhaps. It doesn't depict the same thing. It doesn't depict all the growth and all the different things that you see in there, but you can get a lot from this card, even though that's not really necessarily part of the card itself. I mean, the green is down here, so that shows you the growth. The blue, that's the calmness that the magician usually carries. So yeah, I mean, it's different. Now, this is the Hermit. I do like this card. It's actually as if the Hermit, instead of having a light or a lantern with a star in it, the Hermit actually has a very bright and vivid light that they can use. They also have this staff of light that's being used. It makes it look like as though he's searching for something, and just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, just in the dark looking. So, and I do like this card. It took me a second for me to really get into it, but you know, some of these cards do that. Now, the Fool. This is, to me, probably, and no pun intended, the biggest leap of change or leap of faith that they took in this card. You can tell that there's all this motion. This young person is leaping. There's all these geometrical shapes. It's just very non-traditional to me, so it makes me feel very different when I'm looking at this card. I don't get the same feeling that I would from a normal Fool just beginning a journey or getting to that cliff and needing to decide which way to go, or at a crossroads. This is just kind of, it's that leap of faith that somebody has to take to start that journey. Let's see. So here's the Devil. This one, I do like the way that this one's depicted as well. Or, I like the way that they depicted this one. This one it's got the Devil in it up here in the top, and then it's got the two people that are kind of in that bondage stage and being held. And they do have a way out, they just haven't figured it out yet. And there's stairs to even help them once they figure out how to break free from this. So it's indicative of the normal Devil card. It's just a little bit different. The Three of Swords, I do like this one. This looks more like a crystal heart or a ice sculpture to me, and these three swords have been pierced through it. Again, the swords are translucent. They look to be as though this person has created this strife, created these thoughts, and caused this to be their own problem. And so that's a little different than I would normally depict this Three of Swords, but that's the feeling that the swords in this deck give me. And the last card that we're going to look at, this is the Hanged Man. A little different. And I kind of agree with the other people that have talked about this card. He kind of looks like he's wearing a diaper. So it's a little comical in a sense. And now the structure that he's being hung from is a little different. It looks like it's almost like a glass or made up structure that this person has created, but this is it's a very different one. Like I said, it's kind of comical to me just because it looks like he's wearing a diaper. I mean, you got the naked woman on the wild card, or not the wild card, the world card. Sorry, wild card. The world card. I don't see that there would have been a problem having the naked man and the hangman instead of having a diaper on. So anyway, that is my interpretation of these cards. If you have any questions, or if you want to see anything closer, want anything scanned in, please feel free to leave it down below. Again, this was the Fountain Tarot here that we looked at today, and it again was created by Jonathan, Jason, and Andy. You can find this at thefountaintarot.com, And this little book, by the way, is 112 pages. It's a 112 page guidebook. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I have a few more decks that I have coming. In fact, I have another one I'm about to do here real quick. And then, yeah, get some of these uploaded and so you can see them. But until then, I shall see you all on the next video. Many blessings to you all. Have a great rest of the week. And I will see you on my next video. Thanks for watching.